Hello, hello, and welcome after a Christmas and New Year's break of World of Darkness news. We are back to our regular weekly schedule, and today I have a lot of news to bring to you from all of this time in between the last news show, which happened before the holidays period, and this one. I will be very happy to give you all of this news, and also because of that, we don't actually have a guest this week. It's going to be just you and me. So I hope you'll enjoy it. And also my wonderful blanket, which is very on brand today, especially as we are celebrating the release of Cults of the Blood Gods, which is filled with necromancy and corpses. So that's why I have my wonderful corpse blanket on. And also it's very fitting because here in Sweden, it's super snowy right now. We have a true winter with minus temperatures and with tons of snow. I can barely walk when I'm outside because the snow is like up to my knees. I'm very short though. So yeah, it's pretty much on brand. You are the guest, yes. People in the chat on Twitch are saying that they are the guest, and if you are going to watch us later on YouTube, you are also the guest. And feel free to ask your questions in the comments when you are watching us later on, and feel free to ask your questions in the chat because I will be answering them live on the stream or in the comments later down below. So the topics we're going to cover today, and there are plenty of them. First of all, there's a lot of werewolves going around in this place, which is making me, a little bit uncomfortable with my vampire skin on me. But there's a lot of werewolf news that we have. First of all, because of the Werewolf the Apocalypse Earthblood releasing super soon on February 4th. Their marketing campaign is in full blaze, and they are doing a lot of really, really cool things that you might have observed on Twitter or on their YouTube channel. I'm going to give you some glimpses from that. And also Heart of the Forest that has seen a new release recently. And we are also going to talk about, of course, Cults of the Blood Gods, which finally released today for the public. And we are extremely proud of this book and very much thankful for Onyx Path to bring us Clan Hecata and a lot of awesome other things that the book brings. I'm going to give you more info on that later. And updates to Night Road. There is an upcoming new expansion to Night Road, and I specifically wrote to Kyle Marquis to get some more information about that and what he has in plans for expansion and expanding the game. So yeah, we also have some more news for you, but I guess we are going to start with some werewolves. This blanket is really cozy, by the way. I'm just going to sit in here, sip my water, of course, because I cannot drink blood on the stream. They forbid me, and I will be very happy to deliver these news to you. But first of all, we're going to start with Earthblood, and I guess the best way to start it is to show you something which you might have seen already if you watched their Twitter closely this week, but as not many people saw it by the view count, I feel like it's going to be very awesome to show you guys, show you that here on the stream. And that is the very first development diary for Werewolf the Apocalypse Earthblood, giving you a little bit more glimpse on the inspirations that they had and also some little new tidbits from the game. Check it out.
What we liked about the World of Darkness, and especially Werewolf the Apocalypse, is the ability to play as a monster in a world that's much darker than our current one. And to fight for a noble cause, such as protecting our environment. Before working on Werewolf the Apocalypse, I used to play Vampire the Masquerade, the role-playing game. And I started playing Werewolf the Apocalypse when development started on the project. So I was quite familiar with the World of Darkness before starting to work on the game. What was great at the start of development of Earthblood was that we already had fans of the franchise within the team, people that had already read the books and knew the tribes. We did campaigns with them, so it was easy for us to immerse ourselves in the world of Werewolf the Apocalypse. The story of Werewolf the Apocalypse, Earthblood, is the story of Kahal, a werewolf who was devastated by a family tragedy 5 years earlier and was forced to leave his pack. But then certain events unfold and he must find them again and save them from Endron, a multinational energy corporation that is destroying all life to serve the Wyam, a corrupting force in the world of darkness and the main enemy of werewolves. So Werewolf the Apocalypse is a world very similar to ours, in which werewolves have lived for thousands of years. They live hidden from humans, and they are the protectors and guardians of Gaia, Mother Earth. So Kahal is a veteran. He is an Arun warrior of the Fianna tribe. He joined a pack made up of other tribes in which he could also start his family. Kahal is a werewolf, about 50 years old, who has fought for Gaia for most of his life, but had to leave his pack and family 5 years ago, following a tragedy that left him shattered. Players can take on 3 forms, Homid, Lupus, and Krinos, and each form has its own unique gameplay. For combat, we wanted a violent, brutal, and challenging brawler game with tons of blood everywhere at the end of each fight. What I really like with the combat is the brutality and energy. And then, when it's all over, the intensity drops, you return to human form and reflect on the carnage. You say to yourself, I did all that. To represent the rage and frenzy, we were greatly inspired by the world of Miyazaki, especially Princess Mononoke, because we thought green was the perfect symbol of corruption. When players start playing Werewolf, I want them to feel like they have a choice on how to approach the different action scenes. Will they try and infiltrate discreetly or jump straight in fighting, because that's what they enjoy most? As a player and fan of the world of darkness, it's a great challenge and very rewarding to work on the first adaptation of Werewolf the Apocalypse.
Pretty cool dev diary, wasn't it? When I first heard that the Earthblood developers were going to make dev diaries, I was of course very happy because I love dev diaries in general. I feel like it's a really cool way to get in touch with your audience, to let people know a little bit more about what's happening behind the scenes. But I didn't imagine that they will actually build the studio with trees and Endron facility and everything in it. So it looks super cool. And of course, it's just the very first of the dev diaries. There's going to be more of them. So you'll be able to see more about these guys behind the scenes in production. I really like listening to them because it seems to me very clearly from back in the days when I did an interview with Julien that they are very excited about Werewolf the Apocalypse in general. They are World of Darkness nerds. They played the game a lot. They role-played werewolves aplenty in their lives. And they are channeling this nerdy theme very much in the production. So if you are wondering what the interview revealed more, you can check it out on our YouTube channel. One of the archived episodes of World of Darkness News actually has the interview with Julien. So Werewolf Earthblood is its focal point. You'll be able to find it through that. So there's a lot of additional information they are sharing, and I would recommend right now, especially if you're excited for this game, to follow Werewolf the Apocalypse Earthblood on your chosen social media, because they are sharing not only these big dev diaries, but also a lot of additional stuff. For example, just recently, they transformed their whole account into an Endron account, and they were pretending for a week or so that this is actually Endron. It ended up with a lot of funny situations. For example, some of the followers didn't understand what's happening. They actually noticed that they were receiving a plenty of unfollows because people thought that the account was taken over by some other company. And they didn't know that Endron is actually a company within the game. So they were doing a plenty of let's say ARG roleplay on their account, which is pretty fun. but also they shared some more information. They keep sharing some new screenshots from time to time, and they also shared the list of translations, which I actually have right here to show it to you. The audio of the game is going to be in English, but the text, the full translation, all the subtitles, UI, menu, everything is going to be in all of these languages. So there's English, French, German, Italian, Korean, Polish, Russian, Chinese, traditional Chinese simplified, Portuguese, Brazilian, Japanese, Spanish, Spain, and Spanish, Latin America. So as you can see, there's going to be plenty of translations available if you know some of the folks who are interested in Werewolf the Apocalypse but do not watch the news show because of the language barrier. You can let them know that the game is going to be available in their language as well. So that's one of the news that they're shared. In general, I definitely recommend checking them out, mostly because as the release of the game is approaching, this is the best time to share the most of it. And I can expect that we are going to see some more gameplay tidbits and more information shared as closer as we are going to get to the release, which is in just a few weeks. How much is it? 2 weeks? A little bit more than 2 weeks, isn't it? February the 4th. And of course, there's also information about the different versions of the game, which have different packages of extras if you're interested in that. And if you have any questions regarding Earthblood in general, its release or anything like that, you can refer them to me. I would love to answer all of them that I can answer and to my knowledge here on the stream, and else I will send you to the Earthblood folks. Some people were writing, will there be an AWOO button? I actually do not know, but this is a very important question. I think you should ask the developers. Was there an AWOO button? I did play this game. I don't remember whether there was one. I am failing you right now. I'm so sorry. Will we get werewolf-themed pillow in the style of a Gengar pillow? I am entirely not sure of that, but I also support the idea of werewolf pillows, especially if they're like very much furry. I mean, that would be a very good idea. Can you pet the dog? I also do not know. See, you're asking very important questions which I do not know the answers to, and I feel ashamed of myself. This shouldn't have happened. Our best wishes to Cyanide Studio. Thanks so much, Alessa. I feel like, this game, it's very much action-packed. It has a lot of combat in it, a lot of fighting sequences that are meant to be awesome. And this is something that Cyanide Studio, as a studio, hasn't tackled much before. So they actually brought to themselves, brand new inspirations, like Darksiders, for example, if you've played this game, or Devil May Cry. And they wanted to make something different than what they've made before. The previous game of the studio, which I personally played, was Call of Cthulhu, and that was not that much combat driven. It was very much of an adventurer game, which I quite enjoyed, but it didn't have those very strong action sequences. So I'm glad that they are trying to try something brand new, and I'm happy that some journalists also noticed that when they were writing some articles from seeing the first tidbits of the gameplay of Earthblood, as that was the first wow, there's a lot of combat here, there's a lot of action, a lot of movement, which has to be impactful in a game like this, and Earthblood is going to deliver on that, hopefully. Is there a lot of dancing in the game? I cannot answer that either. I'm so sorry. Do you want to pet the dog in the Earthblood? I mean, it depends on the level of rage. When you are in the lupus form, which is the form of the wolf, and you're sneaking around, I guess that would be a good moment to pet yourself. But when you are in the Crenus form, it might be a little bit more difficult. So Earthblood is still an RPG, as you can evolve your character in various different ways. You can invest points in different trees of development of Cahal, and there are some dialogues in which you can choose what Cahal is going to say, but it is definitely more of an action RPG game, which is filled more with combat sequences and destroying Endron and anything on the way of the Gaia. While there's another game, Werewolf the Apocalypse Heart the Forest, which I'm going to talk about right now, which is very much less on the combat side and more on the narrative side. If you haven't played it just yet, I can't recommend it enough, really. It's a game that is very close to my heart. Probably one of my favorite visual novels in general, and I've played it plenty. And it actually released on Switch just recently. So I think it's a very good platform to play a game like this, because you can always just, stand from your PC or your TV or your console and play it anywhere you go. I don't know, we don't really go to many places nowadays, but go to the kitchen. When you go to the bathroom, you can still play it. And I feel like Werewolf of the Apocalypse Heart of the Forest is probably one of the best entry points to Werewolf that we have out there currently. Of course, reading Werewolf the Apocalypse 20th Anniversary book, for example, before the 5th edition is available is also pretty good, but it's a huge book to get through, while Heart of the Forest is giving you that lore by telling you a story and letting you take the wheel of the story and be a part of it. And I feel like if you are absolutely a noob to Werewolf the Apocalypse, you haven't played anything, haven't roleplayed anything, and you want to get to that world, especially before Earthblood, you want to get some more information about what the hell is this whole setting about, that's the game to go to. And it's kind of like Coteries of New York is to Vampire, but Werewolf additionally gives you a little bit more glimpse into character sheets, roles, rage system. So the things that Coteries of New York do in the shadows, like somewhere hidden in the game mechanics behind the text that you choose, Werewolf, the Heart of the Forest, is a little bit more open with that. So it shows you that on the platter. Which as a role player I very much appreciate, and I feel like it's a very good entry point even for those people who haven't role played before, and that's why I would recommend it. So yeah, it's kind of crazy for me to think about this now, that in a month from now on we're going to have 2 Werewolf the Apocalypse video games out, including Heart of the Forest and Earthblood, that is going to release on February 4th, after so many years of no Werewolf the Apocalypse games. There was one which was in production, which you can see some glimpses of that on YouTube, like a very old project that never came to fruition. But yeah, I feel like Werewolf fans waited for a long time for their game, and I'm very happy that they're getting some right now. So yeah, you can check out Heart of the Forest on Switch currently. I'm not sure if the sale is on anymore, but I feel like it's a very good device to check this game out. And of course, follow Different Tales on Twitter and other socials to check out more news from them as they come. I will be relaying the biggest beats to you guys through the news show. And now I'm going to drop into the TTRPG world, but in the more of the vampiric side, because Cult of the Blood Gods is out. And I'm very happy that I'm going to speak about this first and then Nightroad, because these topics are surprisingly combined with each other this time. There's a little leak into each other, but you will see. So Vampire the Masquerade Cult of the Blood Gods is one of the, I am going to risk saying it, although I'm not sure, but it's one of the biggest supplements to Vampire the Masquerade V5, text-wise, at least I think. Please correct me if I'm wrong in here, but I just, from the reading, I remember that it was massive, and there's a lot of things that Cult of the Blood Gods added. So the book contains information and material for the use of your chronicle from few different sites. First of all, of course, Clan Hecata, or some people do not call it a clan exactly, the reunited family of various bloodlines of death. So the clans which were dabbling in necromancy in some way are reunited right now under one banner, and that is called Hecata. They all display, the different bloodlines display some different characteristics. So there are still Giovanni in the game, there are still Nagaraja, Samadhi, there's still Cappadocians, if I haven't mentioned them before, I think I did, Harbingers and Lamia, and the rest, but they all belong to this one happy family. The reasoning for why they are currently under one banner is in the book as well. There's a very big backstory behind it, and for those people who are much more connected with the old Vampire the Masquerade lore, where these were all separate bloodlines, there's a way to roleplay that through the bloodline lore sheets, which are available in the book, But there is, of course, a way for you to just play a Hecata vampire. You don't really have to be a Hecata Giovanni, a Hecata Putanesca, a Hecata Banker of Dunstern. You can basically play as a Hecata, which is the clan of death, the clan of necromancers with the discipline Oblivion, that is the same discipline as Clan La Sombra uses, but Clothes of the Blood gets expanded with various ceremonies and ways for you to contact the world of the dead or manipulate it with your powers. It's extremely interesting. The book sometimes gets a little bit more into, let's say, rave zone, I would say. So for those of you who are more fans of Rave, or if you remember Rave the Oblivion, or if you will play Afterlife this year and you will enjoy it, you will probably find some little tidbits that connect both settings together. But except, of course, from this whole Clan of Death shenanigans, there's also the cult shenanigans and the vampire religions, which are interpreted in two ways in the book. It's either the religions, cults, and faiths that kindred themselves believe, the congregations that they belong to, at least various groups of vampires belong to. So you have explanations of things like Cult of Mithras or the Church of Set, and additional powers, discipline powers, which or ceremonies, which these different cult affiliations can give you. I feel like this book has, speaking of that, one of the creepiest vampire powers that I've ever seen in V5 so far. For example, the Church of Set ones and the ones that the Ministry vampires can get are just absolutely creepy and can be used in very nefarious ways on your enemies. I recommend you guys to check them out. And also there's additional powers for Tremere, for example, for the blood sorcery, and different disciplines along the way. But that's the first look on the religion. The other look on the cults in the Cults of the Blood Gods is the vampire cults, which they come up with, which they lead, but the main focus group are humans. So the ways vampire use these very big ideas in order to get the herds of humans to be around them, to form the congregation around them. And this might be both like a little bit more religious cults, and also, for example, Ponzi schemes and the companies, or maybe not companies, but groups in which you need to buy yourself access in with money. And they are basically a huge money laundering pyramids, which are also existing in the world of vampires and humans, of course. So there's a lot of interesting concepts that you can use in your chronicles, and of course there is a chronicle involved in there as well that you can use at your table and that you can play. And I've read through this book a few times, and every single time I found new inspirations to either how to play my characters or how to possibly what to do with my campaigns in the future, what kind of elements I can incorporate into them. So I really recommend it. Matthew Dawkins and the rest of the folks from Onyx Path and Affiliated made an excellent job with this book. So thank you for all of the people who put their work to it. And yeah, you can check out on Onyx Path website more information about it. You can see the full breakdown of what's in the game, what's in the book, and of course the book was made through the very successful Kickstarter campaign. So I feel like the Kickstarter page is still out there, and you can check out all of the tiers and all of the things that happened through it. If you want to check out before you get the book, if you're interested in an actual chronicle that is going to portray Cults of the Blood Gods elements in a pretty excellent way, I would recommend listening to The Family, that is available through Red Moon Roleplaying, for example, on Spotify. This is the chronicle which is story told by Matthew Dawkins, and Jason Carl is one of the players in that chronicle, and it very much displays Clan Hecata in its various different phases, let's say. It's various different sites. So yeah, that's Red Moon Roleplaying, and it's available on Spotify. That's where I was listening to it. I feel like it's also available on different platforms, but Spotify was how I listened to it. It's called The Family, and yeah, Matthew Dawkins is the storyteller, Jason Carl is one of the players. It's really, really cool. I really recommend it. That Chronicle was a great listen. I absolutely agree. It's on Spotify. There we go. Jason Carl just linked it in the chat. I will link it down below in the YouTube description. So yeah, Red Moon Roleplaying in general has wonderful, wonderful role-playing campaigns. It's like the quality is just really top-notch. So I very much recommend listening to The Family and getting more info on that. Do we know if the book will be coming to retail? You need to ask Onyx Path Publishing about that. Unfortunately, I don't have this information right now, but I'm sure Onyx actually, they do, I feel like every Monday they do the updates to their community. I believe it's Monday, but they have a very frequent way of updating community on the future release plans and what they're doing with their current writers. And you can check it out on the Onyx Path website as well. So yeah, shout out to Gentleman Gamer Matthew Dawkins. He's not. Oh yeah, I was supposed to tell you something. Right before this show, I got a DM from him saying that I didn't actually recognize him, but he's doing the voiceover for the Endron ads, for some of the Endron ads that Werewolf the Apocalypse Earthblood put out. So you can actually hear him in the Endron ads, and there's apparently one more upcoming Endron ad that is going to be out there. And not sure if that's the one, but Matthew Dawkins told me that he is the voice of the worm or of the servant of the worm in one of them. So that's interesting. Anyway, you can hear his voice in these ads, and of course you can also hear him in one of our previous World of Darkness news shows. He was a guest here a few times, but we did specifically one episode that is strictly about Cults of the Blood Gods. So you can go to our YouTube channel, search for a wonderful, deadly thumbnail of Cults of the Blood Gods, and check out the interview with Matthew Dawkins, in which he says in detail stuff from this game, this book, and its development. Why do I call this book a game? Is that because I really want to have a game based on Cults of the Blood Gods? I think that's the reason. Yes, so Red Moon Roleplaying, very much recommended The Family Chronicle, which is tied to this particular book. And yeah, also for those of you who backed Cults of the Blood Gods back in the days and are now getting this copy, there was an errata which was done in between the early access copy that you've probably received already and this copy. There are some all of the errata edits, I think, were compiled by one of the fans and are shared through Vampire the Masquerade Discord. You can ask Onyx Path for it. You will get the updates on what exactly changed, but there are some changes in there. So if you are planning to pick up the book and continue a campaign that you started with the early access, you might see some little mechanical fixes that were done throughout the community submissions. People were submitting the erratas, and just like we asked for the companion, you guys were providing the feedback on how Cults of the Blood Gods works in your chronicles at your table. What did you find to be a little bit broken or a little bit too overpowered or underpowered? And they were tweaking that to people's liking. And speaking of which, I need to thank you very, very much for all of the people who sent me the feedback for Vampire the Masquerade Companion. I took a lot of time during the holidays to compile all this feedback and send it over to my team in a compiled form with all of the questions, answers, and fixes that you were submitting. So we have a lot of material to go through. It might take us a while to give you an answer on the changes which will be coming to the companion, but you may expect this to happen, and we will be giving you an update through World of Darkness news show about that. So that was really, really cool. Like really, I got so many emails and I was getting through them. If I didn't reply to your email, I was trying to reply to most of them, but it might have slipped because, you know, holidays time, there was a lot of things that we were doing. But I read all of them, so I have it ticked. All of them are read so far. If you still want to send some, please do it. And I will be updating the docs which I've made for my team in the meantime. So yeah. One question, do you think there will be a summary of all disciplines somewhere later? This is a very good question. I feel like from the accessibility point of view, this is a very good idea. And it's something that we are exploring in order to make sure that it's just easy for people to play this game in the future. But how is that going to be done and when, I can't answer you right now. But this is something that I am specifically thinking about very much. As a player, as someone who is onboarding a lot of new players to Vampire the Masquerade, I just want it to be easy for people to play this game and to pick it up and see what kind of powers they can get from where. So I am thinking about it very actively on how to make it simpler for everyone to get on board. Where can we submit feedback again? info@worldofdarkness.com is the email you can use. You can also use discord@worldofdarkness.com, which are the emails I am reading actively, or you can just write to me. That's martyna.zyk at worldofdarkness.com. So I'm going to drop the email right here in the chat. So yeah, you can just write on this email. I'm going to also post an email down below in the YouTube description if I remember. If I won't, please remind me. So yeah. All the future books that will be made for World of Darkness currently will be made either in-house or with the help of Renegade Game Studios. So we are working with Renegade Game Studios right now. That's the publisher for our future books, and they will be working on most of the source books while we will be working on the core books and the core World of Darkness content. With sea shanties taking over our timelines, wouldn't 2021 be a great year to add Daughters of Cacophony? Well, you can still, I feel like, make a Daughter of Cacophony-like character using existing V5 clans, but I can't answer this question, I'm sorry. All right, there are some new questions. There's plenty of questions on Bloodlines too, of course. That's very much to be expected. As soon as we are going to have any Bloodlines 2 news, I am going to scream in all of the channels that we are going to share this news on the new show, because we cannot wait to share more with you. That's all I can say, but we need to wait just a little bit more. Let me... Sea Shanty Daughters of Cacophony. Now we're doing that. If we're going to move this subject, my wonderful viewers, from this to Sea La Sombra, I feel like I'm going to be officially decapitated by Karim Muammar. So I need to move on. And I'm going to move on to the topic of Vampire the Masquerade Night Road and the updates to that. So for those of you guys who haven't played Vampire the Masquerade Night Road, I am just extremely happy with how much positive feedback and how many players this game is making happy. Because I've seen fan art, I've seen fun videos, I've seen fun recreations of scenes in The Sims, like even like that's how far people are going in order to give some praise to this game and to Kyle Marquis, who's the author. So I'm super glad that people are so happy with this. Night Road is basically an interactive novel kind of a game, so it's fully text-based. It's now it has some art actually, but it is not art-based, it is not graphic-based. So you read through the text, you pick your choices, and you make your own vampire story from that. But it's so deep, it has so many different paths, choices, underlying mechanics going on, that people were able to craft completely different stories using it and play completely different characters. And Kyle is not stopping in his quest to make this the deepest, richest, biggest possible Vampire the Masquerade game we're ever going to get, because the amount of things that he's adding is just out of this planet. So we're going to have a new expansion coming for Vampire the Masquerade Night Road with 5 new playable clans. 5. Yes, that is right. And we are adding Nosferatu, La Sombra, Hecata, Ministry, and Ravnos. So after reading Vampire the Masquerade Companion, Kyle was like, I need to add Ravnos to this game, so he's adding Ravnos right now. And of course, there's going to be added new powers and new backgrounds and new sires for these particular clans. But starting from the beginning, the disciplines. The expansion will add discipline Oblivion in 2 different styles, which corresponds with how it is done with Vampire the Masquerade V5. So there's Abyssal style, which is more of a La Sombra style, and Necromantic style for necromancy practitioners. That's more Hecata. So you can you romance Dove? I don't think you can romance Dove in the game now, but you can romance plenty of characters in this game. So you have Oblivion with those 2 different paths, let's say. Of course, there's also chemistry. Now, Kyle didn't explain to me whether this is going to function as a separate discipline or a part of presence, but from the way he described it, I think it's going to be actually a separate discipline in Night Road. I'm not fully sure about that, but Ravnos illusion art is going to be a part of the game. There's also going to be a variant Protean for Snakers of Snake, as he put it, for the clan ministry, of course. So just like it functions in the book, once you read the Anarch supplement for Vampire the Masquerade V5, ministry, once known as Setites, they have those additional Protean powers which are more snake-like. For example, they can develop snake eyes, or they can turn into a snake. And that's going to be a part of Night Road as well, if you are going to play as Minister. The expansion also includes flashbacks and new interactions with most of the new clan sires, as well as the new missions that tie into the events of the family reunion. So that's the tie with Clothes of the Blood Gods. There's not only Hecata added to the game, ceremonies, of course, ceremonies, the necromantic practice of Oblivion, but also the backstory of the family reunion is being tackled in this expansion. And there is a tentative name for it, which I do not have confirmed, but the tentative name that Kyle has is Clans of Deepest Night. And it will be available as an in-app purchase, just like Usurpers and Outcasts expansion, which added Caitiff and Tremere clans. So please demonstrate your snake power to us. I do not want to break the masquerade on the stream. I'm sorry. So yeah, basically Night Road is, again, an interactive novel, but it has so many different ways to develop your character. You can, of course, romance. You can have either, a high humanity character or a low humanity character. There are achievements for that as well. I've seen one of the friends of mine who actually beat this game on the full humanity without any humanity drops throughout it, which was pretty impressive. There are cars, there are modifications for your cars. There are multiple different NPCs. You can have your own ghoul. You can have friends. You can have lovers. You can even romance the prince, because why not? So this is one of the big pluses for interactive novels over more graphic video games. More graphic. This is not a very good way to say it in English, right? Because it may mean something different. There's the plus over making stories that basically you can expand so easily. That's why Kyle is able to make so many more additions, because he doesn't have to have that graphic layer on top of that. He can add basically anything his imagination brings to him using only his own skills as a writer. And that's what makes Night Road so rich and deep. And I really recommend you guys to check it out. I haven't played many Choice of Games novels before, but this one really got me into that world. I'm going to check out, you can pick your clothes and your haven, exactly. You can live in a restored mansion, or yeah, probably. Night Road is a pretty good game. I'm extremely happy that when it released, of course, I thought that not many people are going to play it because it's an interactive novel. It's not a video game with illustrations or 3D graphics or even 2D graphics, right? Without audio and additions like that. But the amount of players who actually play it and enjoy it is really making me very happy. Toriader is your next run. I am currently doing a Banu Hakim run, which I started on the stream actually. So you could have seen it. I've done it a few weeks back in December. It still should be saved here on the Twitch VODs. So I did play at the beginning of the game as Banu Hakim. It was really, really fun. So yeah, guys, let me know if you have any more questions regarding this or anything else. I'm going to check out very quickly our question sheet, but I don't think we have any more that I haven't answered. But please throw them at me. And in the meantime, I'm going to jump into the next topic. But before I do, please give your love to Muchava on Twitter. I'm going to give you write how it's being written. That's his Twitter handle. That's the author for this game. Kyle Marquis, who is Muchava on Twitter, is the writer for Nightroad, and he's doing a really great job with it. I'm super happy with everything he's coming up with. All right. And now I'm going to give you a reminder for those of you who weren't able to be here with us throughout all of the December shenanigans that we've done. And we've done a plenty. We did, for example, we started the role-playing bonanza of December with the special World Builders charity stream that featured Patrick Ruffus, Tini Howard, Blake Howard, B. Dave Walters, and Erika Ishii. And basically it combined LA by Night with Winter's Teeth comic story. So for those of you who have read Vault's comics of Vampire the Masquerade, you may know already some parts of the plot. And it combines Erika's and B. Dave Walters' adventures from LA by Night with that story. And both of the episodes of that are uploaded right now on YouTube, so you can check out the whole one-shot which we've done in December. And starting from next week on, I'm going to be uploading all of the family holidays role-playing streams on our YouTube channel. There's a plenty of them, and some of them have specific themes. For example, there's one-shot which is specifically meant to portray companion clans. So we were playing as Simitsi, Salubri, and Ravnos. There's one which is set in the Victorian age. There's plenty of them that are showing different chronicles happening around online. So a special episode of Stitch of Fate, Vampires of Pittsburgh, Vancouver by Night, and more of them. So I'm going to be posting them on YouTube with the relevant tags, with relevant thumbnails to give you a full information on what's going to happen in this particular chronicle. So if you want to check out some one quick bit role-playing pieces, so you don't have to actually watch for the multiple episodes, but just watch one video and have the full story, that's going to be happening a lot on our YouTube channel next week. And right now, you can consume the one-shot of LA by Night meets Winter's Teeth, available on our YouTube. There are 2 episodes, total of about 4 hours. So it's a very cool watch, and I am extremely happy with the actor skills, of course, of the role players, but Blake Howard as a storyteller was just a treat. And for those of you who watch it, you know what I'm talking about, but if you haven't yet, the way he does NPCs and the accents was just really, really cool. Is there going to be a second run of Winter's Teeth? I cannot confirm just now whether there's going to be a continuation, but I'm going to bring you news about that once I have it. But I'm very happy that people seem to be very into Winter's Teeth comics as for now. There's a plenty of gruesome little plot points in them, aren't there? There was a mention on the server by the writers. Okay, then I can confirm it. I wasn't sure whether I can confirm it, but thank you, Arkan. So yeah, there is more where that came from. Yes, I wasn't sure whether I can confirm that here on the stream, but Arkan helped me. See, thank Arkan. All right, guys. I feel like this is all. Once I will have any news on anything, any of our new products, I'm going to bring them here on the new show and give you more info about that. So you can expect that whenever we will have information about Bloodlines 2, about Swan Song, about more games and more TTRPG books and more things to come, I will be bringing them to you guys here for the news, and we'll be teasing them beforehand. So that's all going to happen. Thank you so much for being here, folks. That was plenty. You want to be a swan. You know, Pyrofox, I understand that you want to be a swan. Swan Song is coming as well. There's been plenty of silence going on as the developers were deep at work, but we hope to show you some more tidbits from Swan Song as well very soon. So Yeah, all right. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us. That was the very first show after a long break. I feel like I cannot speak English anymore that well as I used to. I need to relearn. But that was a good start of the year. This year is going to be very exciting for us, for the whole World of Darkness, and why. I mean, multiple reasons, but I feel like one of the reasons you can pinpoint to the timelines and the dates. Go back and check out where the first World of Darkness books were released, and you will have a little tease. And so we're going to make this year awesome. I'm sure of that. Thank you so much, guys, and see you later on next week. And check out on YouTube other role-playing things that we have going on, like this one and others. See you. Bye.